Good evening, everybody, and welcome to TFC Open Mic Season 2. This is the first open mic of 2017 and Season 2, so welcome everybody who's here. Let's see, we've got a fair few admins tonight, as well as some guests, so welcome to the guests. And I guess the main topic that we're all kind of a bit angsty about is the preview server and what some of us seen in there. So guys, I think I'm just going to I'll leave it to you. I'll leave the floor to you at first, but you know, to try not to go too crazy. I don't know if you want to go first, Ren.
Uh-oh.
Ren?
Hey, no, I was on mute. Wait a second. I was laughing first.
Me too.
Well, I think I made my thoughts about the preview clear on my rant and also on the survey back to Kickside. You know, I like puzzles, so I had fun driving hell raids in the last raid. I like that, you know, there were ways of not getting damaged, but the targets, and it's amazing that I'm saying that now, the river targets were more forgiving. Can you believe I'm saying that? And it's, you know, it's you made a mistake on an elite level 105 target and, you know, an hour of repairs because you made a mistake. Maybe one sub gets its ass kicked, you know, and you keep going with 3 subs. What shocked me is how punitive the Scourge targets are because, and you saw my video, I mean, if you guys had a chance, you know, I jump in a 75, which is not even an elite target. And you need 3 like those to make a set. And I made one mistake, and I got displaced by walls towards 3 turrets. My whole fleet was gone in 3 or 4 seconds, like all fleet. And then it's like 8 hours, 16-minute repairs at halftime.
Mm-hmm.
That's unbelievable.
But see, I seen the clip in your video that you were precise about, and like that what actually happened is there was a wall that surfaced and pushed your ship forward, correct? And
yeah.
But that wall that surfaced, that wall will always be surfacing in that same position. So, like, all right, that was a costly bit of bad luck. But on your second hit, you could actually drive in a way that you wouldn't even go near that wall. Therefore, that mistake could never happen again.
Yeah, but Liam, here's the thing. It's about engagement, right? Let's say I'm not part of the Forsaken Council, and let's say I don't watch all the videos, and I'm not part of the community, right? I'm just a regular player, not really in tune, like a casual player.
Mm-hmm.
And I build the ships, and I go in, and my first experience is exactly what happened there. Yeah. What's that guy's reaction gonna be? He's gonna say,
angry.
Pardon my French, but he's gonna say, "Fuck this raid, I'm out of here."
Mm-hmm. I think there is some stuff wrong with the way that the raids come about and our build up to it in terms of the content, which I know we did really fire into on Tuesday, as well as stuff we're going to talk about tonight. But I think ultimately what they've done wrong, or what is wrong, is the fact that we are going into this raid with the ability to win the Cannoneer special and weapon, and it should have been accessible much before. And that I think that's the biggest part, especially for players like you, Ren, that have actually invested your own time and money in building Cannoneers that aren't quite as efficient as they could be, and you've got to then participate in a raid where you've got to win the materials you need to then refit them and make them efficient.
I think it's a little bit more than just that. I really do. I mean, I dislike the way that they've doled out the technology, but it would have worked if they had actually done what they led us to believe and tuned down the targets initially. I mean, no one really had, you know, fantastic success repeatedly in that thing. I mean, the mechanic that they told us with the walls was that you would continue going in the direction that you were driving when they popped up. Instead, they'd bump you left or right or wherever the closest opening was, which, you know, a lot of times would be next to those targets that you were trying to kite. You know, there was no dark areas for everything, so you didn't know where everything was going to pop up. You had to figure that out on your own. I mean, there's a lot of things that didn't line up with what was said in the forums, and I think that that might have created a lot of the frustration. Is that the communication, what was communicated to us and what we saw was not the same. And I think that caused a lot of frustration in a lot of players. And then on top of that, the tuning of the targets was just, I think, off, considering that they were telling us we wouldn't be able to do this with Centurions and packs. I mean,
Well, then how for Kickstarter? I mean, I agree with all of the points raised, and I certainly agree with Ren's sort of with the points that Ren's unhappy about. But how can Kickstarter as a company, how can they fix it? I mean, what is really their solution? I mean, I think even Kickstarter know they feel that there's some stuff wrong in their delivery, and I think this whole time limited offer is kind of them trying to rectify that. And I know that's maybe not the best approach to it. So what do you think is the best approach? I mean, what could they do? Could they just dumb down the raid and give us an easy first raid, and then we'd be faced with a problem of making the second raid harder, and everyone saying, "Oh, they've upped the damage." Do you know what I mean?
Now that I could accept if they were actually transparent about it and said, "Hey, look, we're going to make," even if they level lock targets and go, "Look, C targets are going to be locked to just certain hulls like the Centurion or whatever." Something where the tuning is done, where everyone can engage and participate. Because right now, it just looks like anybody that's been able to pull the Cannoneers and pull the deal off, or if they have enough Ironclads, they're the only ones that are going to have some success in this raid, and that's going to suck because we honestly need to have the entire community be able to participate in these.
Mm-hmm.
We do.
So there's a couple of things that were stated. George was right about the displacement moving not in the way that they said. So the very first time, you can't possibly foresee it because it's not working as the team said it would. We're getting the message from the people that made it. If they're wrong, that's not our fault. That's theirs. And so I'm going to side tangent a little bit into difficulty about this raid. The quick death and the costly death are both problems, but there's a couple of problems that they could learn from other games in terms of difficulty and such. I feel like the way that this target goes, because the other problem is the dark water didn't necessarily correlate to where stuff would be popping out, I saw during the preview. So you can't really know except by memorization. So you have to go in there, die a bunch, restart over, and try again. And it feels difficult in the unfair level, something like those who play Battletoads might know. Now, to make that somewhat okay, what they can do is drastically lower repair times if they make a mistake, or damage on the target, or both. Just lower the penalty for a mistake. If anyone's played Super Meat Boy, it's a hard game, but the levels aren't really more than 30 seconds, and if you die, you're instantly right back at the start. You don't have to wait to repair or spend money. Now, that's a different monetization scheme. You buy the game, but there's things that can be learned there. Some combination of those solutions, I feel, would really help. Tuning it properly and tuning it to the tech that they should have tuned this, assuming no Mousers, assuming no Millenniums, assuming probably few or no Cannoneers. Stu, go.
Sorry, I had to finish laughing. But
What
was I going to say? I was laughing. Sorry. I wanted to go back to Liam's point about how else they could have given us the new weapon and tokens and whatnot, or whatever it is that we're going to give us. I was actually hoping originally for just a rerun of an older TLC. I would have been happier with that rather than the time offer. I mean, the time limited offer is the one they settled on, and that's okay, fine, but the rerun of an older TLC would have been, I think, fairer for everyone. But that being said as well, they could have always just given it to us for free. But that can be a bad thing on their side, and I see why they didn't do that as well. I mean, case in point, Christmas gold. Ever since we got that first Christmas gold, everyone's like, oh my God, it's Christmas. Where's my free gold? Same thing's going to happen if they give us the weapon for free. Oh my God, it's a new raid cycle. Where's our free weapon? So I don't like the idea of.
Can I make a suggestion? Sorry, can I chip in quickly?
Yeah, go.
So Liam asked what could they do differently, and I think just again compare the repair. Two things: compare the repair time on the Cannoneer, the skill hull, to the Hellwraith. I mean, a Hellwraith fleet would repair in like I think 4 hours and change from that. 4 subs from that, 4 hours and change, I believe. And a Cannoneer fleet from that is 8 hours and change. I think that's something wrong there, since this is the skill hull. And then the second thing is the target, especially like a tier 5, the 70s, cannot be as punitive to the so-called best hull to do raid with. You know what I mean? It's not. The Ironclad has a similar repair time to the Tideseeker, and they are both the no skill, bowl in the China shop kind of hull. But I think the escalation in repair time of the Cannoneer is wrong, and I think the level of punishment. And I want to ask a question after that. For whoever was in the preview, how was the Centurion doing in the 57s?
Sorry, what was your question, Ren?
A lot of people were building Centurions and Harlock Centurions and ranking Centurions and all that kind of stuff. I just want to know who tried Centurions in preview, and what was the experience?
I didn't have a chance to try them.
Yeah, I did in the stream.
One of my guys got in the preview server and he tried Centurions with the current cannons that we have. They did not work very well at all. However, when he had the option to get the Millennium Cannon and then put it on it, they worked great.
Yeah, but people won't have that, right?
Mine were fitted with Arbalist and Pax, and I managed to do a 57.
Yeah, but it was a slow, painful, and awful experience.
It's not going to be quick because we got to learn the target. We've got to run the right path and that sort of stuff. And then, so the first ever try is not going to be good. But
I agree with that. Yeah, but I mean, I remember watching it and thinking, "Oh my God, when's this going to be over?"
The damage
it comes down to the first hour, right? If people have a bad first hour in raid, they'll give up on raid. That's the whole problem. And I think Excite needs to realize that, first month of a new raid cycle, they have to ease people into the cycle. And this time they were very secretive. They didn't release previews. They didn't release targets on map beforehand. And the experience, is as soon as you make a mistake, you're dead. That will drive players away, and participations, every new cycle, pretty much participation gets cut by 30,000 players or whatever. Where is this going to end? I mean, that pretty much means in 2 raid cycles, participation will be down to 0. Of course not, you know what I mean. I'm being dramatic here, but...
Well, I have 2 things I was wanting to say. One, this is Scourge Point. We do not want this to be Scourge 2.0 from the last time. How many people did we lose from that raid?
Enough.
Yeah, 25,000 or so.
We lost less on the Scourge raid than we did on last raid series than the sub one, percentage wise.
Well, there might be a reason because we had less players, but also, honestly, they build the Ironclad as a auto haul. Honestly, who here on the panel would actually auto those targets that they saw with an Ironclad fleet?
Absolutely not for me.
No.
I'm planning to. I'll be autopiloting. But
I'm lazy, so I'll probably auto something at some point as well. So
I mean, that's what the Ironclads were really designed. Like, I think the Ironclad is basically the way it works is it doesn't matter whether I control it or I don't control it, the result will be the same.
Well, I mean, we had Tideseekers, and towards the end of the last set, they were doing extremely well. I mean, obviously that's because they brought in the Harlock Tideseeker, but you never know, they might do the same kind of thing to the Ironclad. So I probably commit to Ironclad.
I can see that coming. Yeah, I can see that coming.
People in preview already saw a badge for winning the Harlock Cannoneer, so it was in preview. If the badge is there, I assume the hole's going to be engraved. And especially because the badge description said, win the Harlock Cannoneer in January's raid. I mean, it was specific.
Constant limbo and all that.
And so you bet there's going to be a TLC for the Harlock Ironclad or whatever.
Right.
I would
you know,
hope
one
so.
one of the things that I really hope that they're looking at is because here's the thing: since the last raid, Kix has been kind of hinting that Centurions would be okay to build and go with, and the build for the Centurion was the pack, and everything that I saw, you know, in that test server, the packs weren't doing shit. I mean, they just were not killing anything quickly enough.
No,
I don't even know that.
packs
I don't
couldn't
even
do
know that.
anything.
Yeah, I don't even know that Sense equipped with packs would be viable in C sets, for crying out loud. I mean, it was horrendous. And
I mean,
I'm hoping that's one of the things that I could, because here's the thing: is how many people got the Cannoneer? Like 30,000 of us, tops. Not even.
Not even.
I'm sorry. It was not even 6,000. That's what it was. It was under 6,000. Okay. I mean, how many people are going to be going into this thing with Centurions? Because not everyone's going to have the Ironclad and the Mauser.
No, but a Centurion is going to be a tier 4 hull, and it's going to be into a tier 4 target. And the tier 4 target, once you've learnt it, it'll be okay. It'll still take a long time because they're long targets. They're not quick targets.
Yeah,
I
but this
reckon
goes back to what Ren just
I don't
said
think-
about
I don't
first
think they're
hour
gonna
of the
be
raid
able-
being, you know, the point where people make or break a raid cycle. Now, if they don't like it within the first hour, but it's likely they'll sit out for the rest of it.
the pack did
Yeah,
work,
And
though.
I think you're
I
a
don't think-
player.
I don't think
and I mean,
Centurion's
just
gonna
on top
do
of that. Sorry, George, but think you're a player who spent the last month ranking and retrofitting your Centurions and building and ranking the Harlock Centurion just to be ready. And of course, you'll most likely have packs because they were available last raid, right? And now you need to be able to do the 50s, right? And people with less than the packs, I would say maybe the Punishers, or less than Centurions, like the Punishers or the Crusaders, I don't know, should be the people doing the 30s, because that's how the tier match between the hull and the target. The problem I see, and it's a problem that Kixeye should address, is they're always concerned that people with the top hull, like the Cannoneer, the Ironclad, will just go around autopiloting a tier below, like the 50s, or autopiloting the 30s or whatever. And then the guys who really need those targets won't be able to find them. So, and I've proposed that before, I personally think they should level lock. Not by player, because that's dumb, but by fleet. I mean,
Yeah.
if
I
it's
think
a
they should just do
fleet,
it the same as TLC.
Yeah,
Just put it
that's
to your
what I
radio
said.
tower.
if it's a fleet with a tier 4 hulls, Centurions, that fleet should be able to hit tier 4 targets. If it's a fleet with Cannoneers, tier 5 hulls, that fleet should be prevented from hitting the level 50 target. You know what I mean?
I'd have to disagree with that
Is
one.
tier-
but
hold on,
only
is
because-
That's my idea. It's okay
Hold
to
on.
disagree.
Is tier 4 the B set?
50s.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Centurions are not going to be able to do it.
I did it in the stream.
I don't think with packs.
It takes forever, but they do.
I did it. Wasn't
Yeah, but you don't
perfect,
want to
but
spend
The damage wasn't
I
good
thought we were
either.
doing. I thought we were doing it with the Ironclads.
no. Well, I did a Centurion hit as well on a 57, and I managed it. It wasn't perfect because obviously the driving wasn't brilliant, but you know it was the first time I ever entered one with the Centurion, so learning the targets. But it was doable. Wasn't perfect by any stretch of the range. I mean, it's a bit of practice it'll get better, but it was okay.
If I can just add to what Ren just said about level locking, the only reason I would disagree with that is for people that, you know, maybe they just, you know, say they did this raid cycle coming up. All right, they managed to win the Cannoneer and they managed to get maybe 2 built, right? But they wanted to, you know, maybe use this Cannoneer, try and get it to build with a, you know, their Ironclad or something, or whatever they use, maybe a Centurion. They want to use the Cannoneer as kind of a tank for the Centurion, maybe help it out a little bit more. You know, that's when the problems would come in. But I mean, as Mark said, moving them to radio towers or whatever he said, TLC towers, I think that would be the fix.
There'll be no lag on the on the surface then.
Exactly.
So everybody's doing that. We're going in there. You could select your target based off your base rate. You'd know all the fleet size. You'd know exactly then what you're going in for. It could tell you straight away and go, oh, by the way, you know, you're hitting a tier 4 with a tier 5 ship or fleet, so you're going to get reduced points, and your reduced points are going to be this. Continue. Blah.
Yeah,
That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, I prefer it like
No grey
that, rather
areas.
than just straight out saying no, you can't hit it with this fleet.
Exactly. And I don't know if anyone tried on the preview, but I did want to bring this up again since it is, less than a week till the raid pretty much. For the love of God, will everyone please try not to use a Cannoneer or an Ironclad as a tank for a mortar fleet?
Yeah, it won't work.
That is just asking for a repair bill.
Just the very nature of these
that's a
targets.
very good point, because people keep asking on the TFC page.
Yeah.
Oh, what about like ghost crawlers? What about tiger sharks with cobra scatter guns? What about launchers? And I've been very clear, and it's not a lot of people have been very clear. Their only weakness is ballistic damage. They have like 99% resistance against everything else. You're going to be tickling the targets with anything other than cannons.
If someone can do a 75 target with Cobra scatterguns or say downpour missiles and do it in less than an hour, I might even give away 50 coins for that if I actually see it on a video.
Challenge accepted.
It would not be
50
possible.
coins. He's already said it. 50 coins. I'll do it.
It would not be possible. It generally would not be possible, because the second you get up, that long-range turret would absolutely scatter you to pieces. The
You
damage on that.
underestimate my power.
We know where Stu's repair bill.
The subs would have to be super fast when they're surface to outrun that radioactive tower.
Yeah, there's no thermal in there, and we get that, but that's not the point. The very second it's surfaced, there's no point putting a ghost crawler in there because there's nothing to hit. There's no point putting anything other sub in there. They've got to rise, and to run away into the corner, my word, even if you used, there's only 2 subs that can, scattergun anyway, isn't there? So, in fact, it's 3, in fact. But, it just wouldn't work. Not well.
And Stu, for you, the challenge is to use Cobra Kudas, not Cobra Tigers.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, you can't change that. You can't change the basis of the bet now. Too late.
Somebody's getting scared.
Okay, so mortar ships, yeah. So the only mortar ship you can take in there, obviously, is like the DNXs and that type thing, and obviously the hot sense and that sort of stuff. The standard ones that we have always put in and doing their FM with, but they're so slow, and obviously with the way the walls jump up out of the water and that sort of stuff, you're going to get isolated, or they are going to get isolated, and your lead ship's going to be running around going, oh, I must go and pick them up again. By the time you've done that, they're going to get slammed, and then you're going to get a huge repair bill, and actually they're not going to do any damage anyway, so it's just a waste of time. But, you're free to try it if you want to. But one of them things, anyway. So.
Now, actually, Hefe in chat kind of does have a good idea. Does anyone know if you could use a zombie sub or something, or even a Phantom Cuda with no armor and surface all the walls?
The only thing I was thinking about was maybe, but it uses up a slot, doesn't it? That's the only thing, it does take up on your slot. So I suppose you could go in as a lead if you want to, but then you lose that radiation bonus that you're going to get from something like an Unshackled Hellhound or the Highlanders, yeah. But yeah, you could drive in probably a sub first, raise everything, and then go back in. I don't know what bonus you'd lose, but don't know. Because obviously there's got to be some sort of the S target's going to have a bonus effect somehow. I'm not sure how they're going to do it, but there's going to be one. There always is, isn't there? So I don't know what you lose.
I'm scared to see the S set after the preview.
Yeah, really?
I'm more concerned about actually getting participation up, because right now the community is not happy.
No, but then again, I mean, to be honest, it's been like that for the last 4 raid cycles. No one's ever happy at the start of a new raid cycle, because what knowledge you have is being stripped away, and you're back to having no idea of what they actually think. I mean, it was stated, GDR stated that, yep, if you're really, really good at this, you'll be able to do the S-class target with a set of cannoneers for nothing, for free. Okay, but what's it going to cost you to work that out? That's the question, isn't it? And that's what Ren brought up the other day as well.
I know one thing I would have liked to have seen them change maybe is for the pop-up walls, those little buoys that are in there to either distract your fire or to get bloodthirst off of, maybe use them as some kind of indicators of roughly where the walls may pop up.
Yeah, or fix the whole mechanic that they said was going to be there. I mean,
yeah, it's a fair
Gotta
point.
do something.
I'd be happy if it worked the way they had said, because then that we could at least puzzle through during the test server. But I don't know if it was errors. I don't even know, because they haven't come out and communicated with us to tell us what's gone on. So we don't even know if that's exactly how the targets are supposed to be or not, or if things weren't working right or what.
Yeah, I'm not sure, mate. I'm not sure. I don't really know. I think we should move on one. Okay, so let's move on the fact that we know the fact that it was a slow release. Okay, we know the fact that some people started off with looking at scents and that sort of stuff. Some people started looking at cannoneers. Some were looking at ironclads. I know some people even look at that sort of stuff. Which is not necessarily a bad thing. I don't know because I've not actually looked at one of those myself. But then obviously the acknowledgement that, do you know what, it'd be really nice to have the weapon to go with the right hull. So the TLC came out and gave you the ironclad, and obviously you got the weapon. And everyone thought, oh, it's the Mauser that goes on the cannoneer. And then we get the hint that no, it's not the Mauser. The Mauser is the one that's designated, obviously, for the ironclad and that sort of stuff. So, okay, so what is it? Well, it's coming in the raid. How can you go into a raid with a ship that you've not got a weapon for? How is that physically possible? I don't know. It's just
you
crazy.
You put on garbage and refit. It's what I do because I have to.
Well,
It's not ideal by any means, but we do what we must because we can.
That's piss poor, isn't it?
Yes.
Go on, Jeff. Jeff's got his mic working. Go on, mate. Go on.
No, I'm done. I'm good.
You're right, are you? So what's the mechanic
Mark.
now then? So yeah, go on, mate.
I have a question, and it's something that's been puzzling me, especially now. I mean, they kind of acknowledge their screw up, not releasing the components with the cannoneer together. So now they offered us this pretty much like buy 105 coins for regular price and we'll give you the blueprint for free, which in principle is kind of despicable because they're making me spend more money for their own screw up, but it's a good deal. Okay. So I went for it. Yeah, I'm a sucker. And but here's what's confusing me. Now in Raid, if we expect to see the price tree the same way it's been in the past many months, we're gonna have at some level the component for the cannoneer for 6 million, the special for the new Alpha Behemoth for 6 million. Then we're gonna have the weapon for the cannoneer, the weapon for the Alpha Behemoth, and then we'll have the cannoneer for 15 million and the Alpha Behemoth for 15 million. That's what I expect to see based on what we saw in preview. So, I mean, I already have the cannoneer, I already have the weapon, but I don't have the component. So that means I'm going to redeem the component missing for the cannoneer, which means I'm going to redeem the Alpha Behemoth and the weapon for it, but not the special. You see how it broke the whole thing, where now I'm not going to have a set. How are they going to go around that? Because when you pick one, the other gets grayed out.
If they
Tuesday, there will be an offer for $9.99 for 105 points.
Oh,
It's broken, yeah. So that's the deplorable piece. That's what happened in the Apollo came out as well. It was a very similar sort of situation where you were chasing left ladder and right ladder as well. I think the interesting thing is, if we're going for a 3 raid cycle, three hits in and then change the cycle and stuff. What's wrong if we're having, say, a whole raid at the last one? What's wrong with having right tier being the next weapon, the next hull, and the next special, giving you a week if you really want to coin them to get the hulls up ready for VXP weekend, and then a month to get them prepped with the right weapon, the right special, and the right hull for the next raid? We don't even need to see the target. Give us a target preview the week before, but at least we've got the hull, the special, and the cannon for it. If you wish to choose it early, and if you haven't wished to choose it early, at least then people that go into that first raid of the new cycle can turn around and say, do you know what? I know what it's going to be. And those people are actually in the raid. They can go around that. Well, actually, it's working for me, and it's pretty decent sort of stuff. It's just another way of doing it. I don't think we have to do anything really technical. I think it's just a case of if the last raid of the cycle is a whole raid or a special raid or whatever they want to call it, or maybe they're not going to do those. I don't know. But release it in the previous one. Give us a month to prep it. Most people will prep it within that month, and then we can start the new raid cycle with the right kit. And we don't have to have any of this rubbish that's happening at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I spent the month of August preparing my hell raids for the first river raid cycle, and I felt spending more points, like paying twice the regular price on points for the weapon, the hell raid, and the special, actually put me ahead of the game, gave me an advantage. So I think it was time and money well spent. Now this time I got the cannoneer for like unbelievable 90 million points, and I'm not ahead. I'm like, it's less than a week before raid. I'm having to buy offers and refit my ships to see if I'm going to be half ready. And I'm not looking forward to it because if I make a mistake, it's going to cost me 8 hours of repairs. I'm kind of like right now, my feeling about the upcoming raid is very negative. Still, because of repairs and punitive damage for mistakes. I'm not. I don't feel like I'm any ready.
Is this where I can put in my bid about the whole idea of the offer? I think.
No.
Yeah.
Okay. So, in case you hadn't seen it somehow, and this is only available to those with the Cannoneer. It's been confirmed. Only those who got the Cannoneer last raid got the ability to purchase this. 105 gold in the gun for $10 US. So, it's you buy $10 of gold for the normal price, and you get the gun quote unquote for free. And then the $20 offer, which was more, and the Cannoneer build tokens. There was a glitch prior that was like a lot more gold than intended, and it was fixed. So I have never been so insulted. And before, the last time I was this insulted was when they changed support, where you have to pay $50 to be able to send in a ticket if something was wrong. And I understand that I'm biased because it's against me, but a lot of times in this free-to-play game, I intentionally choose to not spend any money on this game because of being a full-time student and having a part-time job and food and tuition and textbooks and being a responsible person and important things and personal reasons. And this game's okay, I guess. But a lot of times, a lot of what people saw as coin grabs, I saw as puzzles and challenges, ways to work around, ways to do things cheaply and for free. Ren is a perfect example. He did the most recent sets of war games, PvP things for free. A lot of people like to call the 1-hour campaign sets coin grabs, and they're not. Not really. They just require an interesting solution. And that solution can be found and has been found. Everyone says it's perfect in the side chat. But that's an important way. You use your brain and your intellect and your strategy and maybe a bit of math knowledge to make the game cheaper for you, make it more affordable and more fun. And I'm sure Kix makes quite a bit that way. This is literally full stop. There is no way around it. You have to pay to get the gun right now. And that I find as terrible. It is a good value for the money straight away, if you just look at it that way. But if you buy this offer, you reinforce the behavior that this is okay. And I don't begrudge anyone for buying the offer if they see value in it. It's your dollar, it's your choice. I would not buy it even if I had the disposable income, because this sends a bad message to Kix that they can just do whatever and make up for it with a sufficiently good offer. And that's not really what you want to be teaching in a game company. A lot of people like to say it's game designed by accountants. As a former accounting major, again, biased, I have to disagree. It's done by people that are either poor or unethical economists and or either poor or unethical psychologists. I don't like what they're doing. I'm done. Thank you.
Wow.
A moment of silence for Brian. He managed to kill the open mic.
Mic drop.
But I mostly agree with Brian. You know, it's poor. I mean, the other thing is even more. It's like the last raid when we had that anti-stun armor limited component and agility system 4 limited component coming back, and they're all like, oh, you know, they're going to be useful, right? They're going to be useful, so let's stock up on them. And now we see that, you know what, we don't really need any of those. I mean, everyone is taking out agility system 4, not everyone, but most people, to put speed system on the Cannoneer or whatever. And people are like, oh, you know, if you have the Ironclad, you already have 100% resistance. You don't need it. If you have the Cannoneer, you outrange the stun, so you don't need it. So I'm like, what the heck? Why did I spend time getting that?
I think we spent like $32 million to get all the agility 4s and all those plates. And where's the use of it other than base hitting?
And really not even then. Whoever uses that for base hitting.
I do have something positive to add. about the targets. I like the design work. I'll just put that out there. I mean, the first time I picked one of those targets, I was actually really impressed with how well they look designed. You know?
I agree,
mean,
Stu.
look,
I agree with Stu. I mean, I like the design, I like the mechanic, I like the puzzle aspect. I just hate the level of damage when you make a mistake.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I mean, what was it? The 75 we did, which is supposed to be A set or tier 5, whatever you want to call it.
Yep.
If it's based on pass rate, I mean,
damage
you
was
do
a
a
bit
75, you do a 73, you do a 71, and then you score maybe 3 million points.
Yeah, I mean, like I used my Cannoneer and the damage was too high. I mean, with practice, I could probably get that down, but it's tier 5. The Cannoneer should dominate that. There's no question about it. If the Cannoneer is built for S sets, it should be dominating A sets. Simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, which it kind of really wasn't. I mean, it did okay, and I mean, depending on your driving, depending on how mistakes you made, it did okay. But if you made a mistake, you know what I mean. Like Ren said, 8 hours. It's just not good enough for me. But the only real positive thing I found about the targets was how they looked. They looked fantastic from my point of view.
Yeah, our team is killing it. Good job.
The art team's it's more than just the art team. I mean, I like the targets. I like the idea. I like just like we're in the puzzle. I like figuring that out. But I think the only error that they did was that they waited until the last minute to have us go in and try these. You know, when they did the Hellwraith raid, we had a couple months ahead of time that we were working on it, and they finally ironed it out. Where the last 3 were actually pretty good. I mean, I like the first one as well, but this one, it's like it just feels last minute. There's a lot of stuff that still has to get worked out, and we should have been doing this last month rather than the week before the raid.
Yeah, no offense. If it's going to a 3-month cycle, I wanted my fleet to be ready and done with for this whole raid cycle by now.
I'm not even talking about the
building
fleet.
on it.
No, I'm not even talking. I'm talking about the design of the. I mean, the design and everything of the targets is fantastic. I think that to iron out the targets themselves, we should have been doing this a month ahead. We're a month.
Yeah,
late
I think we should probably be given more preparation. Like you said, with the Hellwraith targets, we had so much time to get ready for these targets. They tuned them around us. They took our feedback into consideration.
Yeah,
I mean, that's not to say that they can't do it. I mean, I'm not saying that they can't do it this time. I mean, they might shock us all and come out with an absolutely amazing raid.
Right.
You'd have to read your own words.
Yeah, and I'm not even talking about us though. I'm talking about them, like giving Kickside time to actually,
Yeah, I think the whole lead up to this raid was, I mean, to be honest, quite poor. I mean, with the whole fiasco with the special, the weapon, blah, 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 we've heard so much about that already today. That was poor. The preparation for us going into this new cycle has been piss poor. Sorry, that's the only way I can, describe it. But, I mean, it's not finished yet. We've still got 4 days to go. We might be pleasantly surprised, so we have to stay positive, I guess, and see what comes out.
They might, I mean, they might tune it. And I do hope that they tune the targets or tune them down. I know that Doom had said that they had several options. I have no problem if they tuned down the targets and came out right away and said, hey, look, we're tuning these down. Expect them to be harder next month. We're telling you right now, expect them to be harder next month, but we're going to tune them down for this raid. If they're transparent and upfront about that kind of crap, I have no problem with it. I don't.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I can get behind that.
I think that's fair, and I think if they did do that, I mean, I would have hoped that would have been the solution that they would have got to. That seems like the best thing to do all around for everyone is make this raid a little bit easier, but be upfront about it. I mean, I think it's tough because obviously this raid cycle went through the Christmas holidays as well, and hey, I'm not saying that they're entitled to take a break, but they should, everyone should have a break. And I imagine the kicks off is close at some point, regardless of how big a game company they are. They must have took some time off for Christmas. So I imagine they're very behind in the office as well. Now I know that is probably sounds terrible, but it's true. You know, I mean, people have a Christmas break, so they are probably a week behind, and then they got into the office and then had like a week to get a raid ready. Do you know what I mean? I mean, yeah, sure. Maybe they could have been
That's
working on it.
self-imposed, right? I mean, they could have delayed the raid by a week or two and then give themselves time to work it properly. It's a self-inflicted problem.
Oh, I agree. I really didn't expect to see this raid to be so early in January. You would have thought that they would have put it to the end of January, regardless of timescales, because it's a new year. Do you know what I mean? They could have done whatever the hell they wanted. I don't know. Is there anything else from anyone?
Not on that. I think that's depressing enough.
Yeah.
Because we're just beating the same horse to death for 40 minutes now. So
I agree. Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think Kixeye realised that some errors were made, and let's hope and pray that they change the way that they deliver it in the upcoming.
okay, Liam, if you wouldn't mind, can you share my screen, mate? If you wouldn't mind, I just want to pull up a point that Ren's put out several times, and we'll make it blatantly obvious for everybody in this stream. Even though we don't normally do shoots, but there's one thing I just wanted to show everybody. So there's a Cannoneer build on my screen, if you can see it there. I'm not saying it's the de facto Cannoneer build, but there is one. So that's the build you can produce now, or a build you can produce now. But you can also build something like that, and you think to yourself, well, why build that build there? Because you can see, look, the DPS for that one there is 157, as opposed to this one here that's 250. The only reason I'm looking at that one there is because the final build that you may want is this price down here doesn't arrive until obviously you've completed the raid cycle. And if you want to refit again for probably a third or maybe a fourth time, then you might get slightly frustrated. But if you're going to go from this build here, obviously clearly to this build, then you've only got to change that one special. But obviously you're going to go for this sort of format where you're getting maximum DPS. In the first part, you've then got to refit both specials. So it's just a little bit of a time saver. But you've got to air off the fact that obviously there's quite a difference in DPS from 215 there to 157 in that one there. So it's just a concern. So you cannot have new special and the two new specials, the new barrel system and the new high velocity rounds. You can't have it on the same ship, and you can't also have siege targeting either with the high velocity rounds. You can't use those two together either. So just something to confirm that that's just not acceptable. That's what I wanted to say really on that one there. So just be cautious in your building.
See, that's what I don't get. The two new techs that were technically supposed to work together do not work at all.
And it's weird because they don't have any overlapping bonuses, do they?
Let me have a quick look then. So let's, because this one here, look, it's got ballistic damage times 25% and then splash as well. So that's the only two that are really interesting there. So ballistic damage 25 and splash 35. And then go down to this one here. So you've got ballistic damage 55. So yeah, you get a huge bonus, wouldn't you? Especially, especially if you put, I mean, it's multiplicative, I get that, but you put that on obviously the Cannoneer, on the Ironclad, which obviously when in Bloodthirst obviously gets plus 80% again on top of that again. You'd have an amazing hull, wouldn't you? And obviously that gives you also building damage 80% there as well.
Put it on your citadels.
Yeah, you can put it on several ships, but it's going to work very well. See, Brian's astute as ever. So just bear that in mind, obviously, because it's all about refits and time and ergonomics and that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So
no, Brian has a great point. I mean, that can work well with rockets, with mortars, because building damage, it's good for garrison, and projectile speed of 100% is massive.
Yeah, so it's a good special, but just about ergonomics, it's up to the individuals if you want to go doing lots of refits and that sort of stuff. But I'm trying to be as ergonomic as I possibly can these days. So I'll take a little bit of pain in the short term, and I'm going to save some of my refit tokens, and I'm going to go with that first Cannoneer with the nuclear accelerator on it, and I'm just going to change siege targeting over for the high velocity as soon as I've won it. That's my plan.
So
I've just doubled my DPS.
Now, I know with the alpha, whenever it was on the loading screen, but did you guys find it in the shipyards by any chance while you're in the preview?
Yeah, only on the loading screen, not actually in the shipyard, no, so I didn't see any statistics on it. Otherwise, I wasn't really looking. I didn't have much time, to be honest. But
the only clue they got is that the alpha was in the loading screen, the alpha behemoth, and the badge about the Harlock Cannoneer.
That was it, yeah. I didn't see anything else, to be honest. So yeah, there's a lead coming out, isn't there? Or there was a hint that there was a lead coming out, and likely I don't know about the Ironclad. I'm not sure, but definitely we saw something for a Cannoneer lead. But,
the badge for the Cannoneer
Yeah.
flagship, but nothing about an Ironclad. But I would think if they follow the trend of the last months that the Ironclad flagship will come in a TLC, like we just had the Iron Maiden. I would
mid-month one.
expect the Iron Maiden Elite.
Yeah, I was thinking the same thing. I was thinking something along the lines of finish the raid. The following week will be obviously the VXP, and then the week after that will probably be some sort of TLC or something. As a guess, because we don't get obviously a work in progress. So, yeah, but anyway, over to anybody else. So that was all I had to say. Sorry.
I want to touch on a point real quick that they keep harping on about when they're talking about the shorter raid cycles. One of the benefits that they're trying to tout is that they can reduce the build times of the specialist hulls. And I have mocked up in Huggies your exact Cannoneer build that you just put up on that page with the high velocity round, the new cannon, the new special, the new hull, everything. Actually, let me just set it to R&D 0 just in case. And the Hellwraith, all kitted out with its weapon, the Fire Twister, its special, the Sealed Fire Charge, and the same armor to kind of keep that stable. The difference in build time is about 1 day and 6 hours. So in exchange for 1 month of service life in the raids, and not even that if you're talking about the Cannoneer, because we can't really properly build the finished version, and 4 months of usefulness because they're cutting off an end a month on the end of each raid cycle, we save, 5 days in a fleet? Maybe? No. You said a thing and it was false. So they're just completely wrong about that.
Yeah. No, I get it, mate. It's yeah. I'm interested to see how this three. It was 3 raids and then obviously a whole raid sort of stuff, and now it's going to enter 2 raids and a whole raid, isn't it? So, or is it going to be a whole raid? I don't know. Maybe we're not going to have whole raids anymore. I'm not sure. But yeah. Anyway, anybody else? I think everyone's depressed at the moment.
Could we not just blame George for the whole December, January month?
I thought that was
to do with this one. I had nothing to do with this one at all.
No, I don't believe that. It's definitely George. All that talk about mega holes, like Pixar got sidetracked and they fucked up. That's what it is.
Oh, they're mad that you didn't get into it yet, man. They're actually upset that you still don't have, your fragments or whatever the hell it is.
Gantry shards or whatever they are. I know. I've still got to do it. Well, still not touched it.
So I'll just plug something for Andrew because obviously he's not on tonight because he's working, that sort of stuff. But Andrew, if you go onto the Forsaken Council website, if you go into raid help, okay, then we've now got the Awakening up. The video tips are in there, obviously, particularly Ren's ones and obviously Stu's ones as well. But there's a few builds now. There's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 for the Ironclad, and I've put one up basically for the Cannoneer. But what I'll do is I'll somehow put up about that staging from 1, 2, and 3 as well on the refit. But there is a Cannoneer fit of fleet in there as well. So and everybody's got other pieces as well, but it's full of videos and that sort of stuff, and the tutes and the stream that we did obviously from the preview is there as well. So have a little look at it, see what you think. Yeah, it's all there, and Andrew's done an excellent job again.
No, that stream that we did last night, that was really fun to do, actually.
It was also very quick, hard work trying to manage all those screens. But yeah, it was good. No, it turned out to be quite a good stream. And I have to say, kudos, because we got like 360 odd people watching at any one time, which is quite nice. And the page is now hit, on the Facebook page, we just hit over 9,000 sort of like members, which is fantastic as far as I'm concerned.
It's over 9,000!
Yeah.
What? 9,000?
So come on, bring on the big
it.
10,000. That's what we
I
want.
swear, if someone doesn't post that meme on the TFC page, we just need to shut down TFC. Right? That's what I'm saying there right now. If that meme's not on there by the end of tonight, I'm going to be so disappointed.
It's just
We just did that meme live on air. It's okay.
I won't even close the thread for it, not being game related. I will leave that open. You have my word.
Oh yeah, it's probably not a good time, or maybe it is a good time to talk about it. Okay, but quickly, obviously people are upset. All right, then, and we get that, and there are various different types of people out there and that sort of thing. So if you're upset and you just go, "This is bollocks," then that will get removed from the page. If this is bollocks because of X, Y, Z, that can stay. Okay, slagging a person off that works for Kicksite is pointless because he's just doing his job. Slagging Kicksite as a company for a reason is also acceptable, okay? But give the reason and make sure it's a valid reason, not just the fact that you hate them, okay? Constructive criticism is fine. Criticizing with no end result is pointless because it doesn't get us anywhere, because they do read our page, okay? And we do take things back to them. Certainly Ren has in the last couple of days, I can promise you, as has Liam as well. So constructive criticism, fantastic. And then slating each other on the pros and cons, that doesn't work either, because then posts get reported and all I do is click delete and the whole thread disappears, because I don't have the time to sift through 9,000 people's comments and then to find out the good comments from the bad comments, so the whole thread goes. So unfortunately a couple of things have disappeared in the last couple of days. That's because people have been slightly outside the bounds of what's acceptable on TFT.
Yeah, there's like no point whatsoever in putting, my name's blah 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 and I'm so done with this game, fuck Kickside. You know, there's no that doesn't help anyone. That really doesn't.
Wrong page. Apart from a number, that's it.
You know, you really, like, if you're upset with how the game's going for you right now, there's something that you can't do in the game. I mean, chances are you could probably get the advice that will turn your game around just by asking on the page. I understand if you're upset, you know, you're pissed off, the game's not going the way that you want it to go for you or whatever, but, you know, try and keep your head, you know, make something constructive out of it. You know, ask on the page, you know, oh, look, I really don't like this, I'm having a difficult time. Someone will answer, someone will reply. You know, there's no point in just screaming and hollering. It doesn't get you anywhere. Yeah, I'm done with that.
So, quick question for you guys, since we only got a little bit longer. Do you think the TLCs that we saw, do you think they're good as they are, or did they need turned down a little, or what?
The Ironclad I'm a little concerned about, because you had to do the S set from the last raid, which is basically complete mastery, and do so in under an hour, which is also difficult, in order to get the tier 4, like the Autoer, the equivalent of the Tide Seeker for this. Like the Tide Seeker and its TLC was far easier to complete, and we ended up getting better weapons as well, but that's not really the point. If you're going to make it easy and available for a lot of people, make it easy and available for a lot of people. Having to do the S set, I feel, was a bit much. I haven't done the other one. I can't comment on that.
The reason I was asking is because when the Tide Seeker came out, I was able to do that TLC and do the one with the Harlock Tide Seeker. I was able to do that for very little coin. I think I spent maybe 15 coins in total with 2 Apollos. Now, fast forward it to this, I took about 20 hours damage with a fleet that was doing 4 coin repairs on S sets.
Hang on a minute. Wasn't the Harlock Tide Seeker a raid prize and not a TLC prize?
Yeah.
I thought it was. Oh, it was? I thought it was TLC.
Yeah, I was just going to say.
Well,
In this one, but originally it was a raid prize.
Yeah, so as I'm understanding, I think this campaign is actually completely new. I saw some targets in there, correct me if I'm mistaken, I hadn't actually seen before. So,
well, guys, I posted. I even posted a video. I did the pack 1 where you can get just the hull, right? The Ironclad. I did the Tiger Sharks. And allowing for slow repairs. I messed up after encounter number 3, I guess. They repaired for 3 hours and change. And because it's 6 hours to complete, I went back and did the last 2 encounters with the same Tiger Sharks. And, you know, for free. And so I don't think, I think the first level is very good. Anyone with Tiger Sharks or Tide Seekers, reasonably built, should be able to do it for free or for very little coinage. That's my experience, at least. I mean,
yeah, we posted
I know
a
there are
build on the
variables,
page.
but
There's a page. There's 2 holes, I think, on the Ironclad holes that are basically Earthshaker only. there's definitely, Andrew put something up today, so there's a couple of like lower level tech builds on there, which are quite decent. And you know, the one thing I did notice in the preview is, so long as you get the bloodthirst up, you know, I was doing the 50s target for like with 3 ships for 6 minutes repair once I worked out a route.
And if all you can do is prize pack 1, it's okay. Don't feel bad about it. The Earthshakers are a much quicker build than the Mausers. They're pretty good DPS, obviously a little worse, but not that far behind. And for the weight efficiency, they're much better. So if you wanted to load up on extra armor, you could do that. And they make your ship so much faster. So you'll be able to do the targets in less physical time, and they have the same wide splash. Earthshakers, definitely not a bad choice. If that's all you got, put them on. You're going to be fine, probably.
And if you're going to drive, so you're not on autopilot, just that we use the longest range. If you're going to drive, a mix of packs and Earthshakers actually is a good idea.
And that's on there as well, isn't it, Ren? That
yeah,
build.
that's the one build I put in on the side. Yeah. Like Andrew loaded my build with Earthshakers and packs mixed up. But then you've got to drive, so the Earthshakers actually fire.
And there's one on there with just Earthshakers as well. So, but yeah, because you up your armor points because you've got the Earthshakers on. But it's a very fast hull, but you've got to drive it. So yeah.
It brings repair time up. I mean, all Earthshakers versus no Earthshakers, you're adding 1 hour repair time to each ship, but you add 5,000 armor.
But if you're fixing overnight, that's a good trade-off, isn't it?
It's a good trade-off. 5,000 armor for 1 hour repair, a normal time, which means half an hour raid time. It's a good trade-off.
Yeah, I must admit, my Punishers are still sitting there with Earthshakers on for doing, you know, the earlier targets and that stuff. And I've still got some in my alliance, like I said, with a no armored set of Punishers, and he goes and does 109s with 4 Punishers with Earthshakers on. So it's still a reasonable kind of, just a driving one, that's all. Good. How are we doing, Liam, for time? We're okay there?
We're okay, guys.
We're out there.
Yeah.
Has your takeaway turned up yet? That's the question.
Well, this is the takeaway turned up halfway through the show, and it was meant to turn up.
I told you
at the
it
end
would.
of the show. Yeah,
we guessed that. Was it good? That's the point.
It was really good. I had some calzone and cheesy chips. Oh, it was so good.
Tune in next week on TFC to find out what Liam had for dinner.
Yeah, next week, dessert.
Dessert.
AKA banana split. Oh.
Where is Lucy?
Yeah, never mind. That was bad.
Mark did it on me.
Yeah, that was terrible.
Yeah. Well, guys, I mean, it seems like you've mashed a lot of the subjects. You've mashed a lot of the topics. You know, I mean, there is some light over the clouds after all. We're not all sort of doom and gloom, are we? There is sort of some positives. Yes, no.
Yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the targets.
The targets was fantastic. So, I mean, that's my positive there. I'll take that and run with it.
Okay, and I mean, you know, what do you like about the raid? What do you like about these new targets? Have you covered that subject as well?
Well,
yeah, very much
I like that I don't have to use subs. I mean, that's just me, though.
Do you know what I like?
People with ironclads are going to have fun, without a doubt, because they can just blat it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I like the fact that that I can autopilot. That's the highlight for me. That's the main thing.
Of course it is. You with your takeaway and autopilot.
Yeah, well, but not via mobile phone, as Mark said in the week show.
It'll be a new thing. Go on, get on it.
Yeah, I'll get there. I'll download Puffin. All right, guys. Well, listen, great show. Apologies about the mid-raid food, but these things happen. Great show, and thanks everyone for coming out. And we'll see you next week. I mean, with a little bit of luck, we'll get an exclusive on the prize list. Never know, but hopefully we will, and we'll have a prize list exclusive Tuesday. Let's hope for that. So we'll catch you on Tuesday's show. But thanks everyone for coming out, and have a great weekend.
Literal.
Have a good night, guys.
Have a good
night, everyone.